Sounds great. Looks like we're still here and we're still discussing whether a hot dog is a pizza or not. Or a hot dog.
Every episode's just gonna end with us making some other outrageous statement about food classification.
So, like, here's the deal with definitions. They do just work that. They work that way. Like, definitions are like it's very technical, right? We fold a pizza and so the bread comes together. You've arguably not only made a pizza sandwich, but a pizza taco. You could debatably. I don't know what the definition of taco is.
Okay, Zinker, how about this?
So that might be.
How about this?
That might be like breaking a system or something, but it makes it a sandwich, whether people enjoy it or not, or want it to be a sandwich or not. It's just how it be.
Let me throw this. Let me ask you this then: if I have a piece of bread,
right,
just laying on the counter, and I put some jam on the bread,
right?
What do I have? I put it on one side.
Whatever toast classifies as, but obviously not.
But that's
toasted.
so that's not a pizza.
I mean, I don't actually know the definition of pizza, so I don't know what classifies a pizza. I don't know if you could arguably say that is a pizza, or not. Here's the deal, Derek. Let me throw something for a loop here. You know Lunchables? Everyone knows Lunchables, right?
Yeah.
And what they describe food is very loose, but whatchamacallit? Pizza. Oh boy, no, Laylee. Thank you. They have pizza, but for a while they had something called a treatza pizza, where one of the Lunchables was you had like a chocolate on you had chocolate and sprinkles, basically, or candy, and that was one of your pizzas, as opposed to having just the sauce and cheese. To be fair, I don't know if they actually ever specifically referred to it as absolutely, without a doubt, a form of pizza, but I mean, like, they basically did.
So I would call that a dessert, which is its own subcategory.
Just because pizza doesn't necessarily mean it's not a dessert.
So yes, but I would still call it. So I'm the
the problem here is I can't make an
to...
argument until I can see what the definition of pizza is to tell you whether that jam is in fact pizza or not.
I want to dig through more FDA definitions. It took forever the first time just to find what I was looking for.
But I mean, the Google definition's pretty good enough. It seemed to line up.
Also,
with it.
Also, I feel like the FDA is not absolute.
I mean, it is. It's a primary source. The only thing you could use to argue it is another primary source. But like, those are just going to be dictionaries.
All I'm saying is they're not. All I'm saying is I don't think they should be the absolute dictators of what constitutes what food.
So I got the definition of pizza right now. A dish made typically of flattened bread dough, spread with a savory mixture usually including tomatoes and cheese and often other toppings, and baked. This is from Merriam-Webster. With that definition...
That's a very loose definition.
It is loose. They're all loose. Derek, what you need to understand...
Which is what makes it hard to classify specific foods.
Well, it doesn't make it hard. It makes it easy. But, so here's the deal. With that jam
the
piece of bread...
when they're loose like that, Zinker, then you can't have a solid answer because one thing might fit into a couple different definitions.
Derek, that's fine. Things can be multiply classified, buddy.
Yes, but the whole point is to be able to find an end definition.
Well, yeah, you do. It just consists of multiple categories. Nothing wrong with that.
So a hot dog's a sandwich pizza.
Yeah, it's both a sandwich and a pizza. That's not really a pizza.
No, wait, Zinker, the hot dog's a pizza sandwich. Fuck.
And now we're back to where we need to be. Oh, motherfucker! I thought I was safe there. I was dickhole. I was just oh, I guess there's a cannon there. But yeah, so it's okay for their like things are going to fit into multiple classifications. For example, you were saying like how a hot dog, like not all sandwiches are hot dogs, but a hot dog is a sandwich. Think of it like a square and a rectangle. Motherfucker.
So if I want, yeah, but Zinker, if I have if I'm making a menu for my restaurant, and on my menu is a pizza sandwich, which is pizza sauce, cheese, and pepperoni between 2 slices of bread.
Right.
Where do I put that? Do I put it under pizza or do I put it under sandwich?
Wherever you think it would look best. Derek, here's the deal, right? It doesn't. You can put it where it's your restaurant. You can put it even if it doesn't make sense. But you're gonna put it wherever it makes sense, where it's gonna sell the most, and that's it.
Well, that's one of the problems with food. That's one of the problems with food taxonomy. Is honestly the best answer is whatever makes sense to each individual person generally, or to the greater mass of individuals. Because that's the purpose of classifying food into certain categories is usually just to be able to for people to be able to find what they want quicker on the menu.
If I had my own menu, I would put it under sandwich, because I feel like, especially if it was a pizza place, I put under sandwich because I feel it fits more as a sandwich, and I mean, you even call it a pizza sandwich. It doesn't quite fit as pizza, to me. I mean, it does. It is pizza. Actually, by a pizza sandwich, by definition, of what makes a pizza, would not be a pizza anymore.
Okay, if I make Zinker, if I make it and if I have an open faced pizza sandwich,
right?
So I have a slab, or I have a like a single piece of bread with pizza with like the general pizza topping on it, with the intent that it is to be folded upon reaching the table.
Upon reaching the table, it's a pizza sandwich.
So it's your intent.
It stops being a pizza and starts being a sandwich. I mean, you're only calling it a pizza sandwich at that point because it has the ingredients of a pizza.
Okay, so Zinker, what if I top my pizza with bread? So now I have a sandwich pizza.
Yeah, that would make it both. That would make it both, I think. I think by definition
so where do you put the sandwich pizza? You put it under pizza? like I have a piece of bread, and then I have ham sprinkled on it, and then I sprinkle pieces of bread on top.
Pizza, whenever you bring that out to someone, is they're gonna look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because they're gonna see a bread on top of some. So I would put it under pizza, anyways, because it's gonna look more. It's gonna resemble more a pizza, but it's both. It's truly both in that situation. It meets both definitions, with the bread, since the bread is a topping, and it's still on flattened dough. Why does that not work? I don't understand. Like, what am I doing wrong there, guys? Shouldn't I just bounce? Ugh.
So the way my friend started his panel on food taxonomy was he first went through like classifications at the animal there like that you have for like classifying animals, and then he went through the food pyramid, because the food pyramid is actually a really nice asset for determining what types of food generally fall into what. Because like you have like grains, vegetables, meats, and generally whatever's the biggest, most present in the food is what you ultimately go to. The thing that this is most important for is just desserts. Where desserts, if something is mostly sugar, essentially it goes if something is mostly sugar, it automatically falls on the dessert. Just because, or regardless of the.
I'm not going underneath. I don't want to die. That was frustrating. That level was frustrating. I hated it. That was terrible.
Regardless of like the other contents, if a food is mostly sugar, then like some certain percentage sugar or whatever, then it should automatically be classified as a dessert. So, for example, like a piece of pie, while you could argue a pie is a sandwich because it's between two pieces of bread, it would.
It is.
A pie is a dessert.
What are you talking about dessert here?
Or like
dessert isn't.
Or like
a dessert's a certain type of meal. Like you got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dessert is just it's just something that follows like the main course and stuff.
So that was all. So like that was also another way to you can break down things about or that was another early break down things. Is it generally intended as a breakfast food? Is it a lunch food? Is it a dinner food? Like if you had like pancakes for dinner, you're having breakfast for dinner. Your dinner or pancakes aren't a dinner food. You're just having pancakes for dinner.
Right.
But you're having a breakfast food for dinner. Which obviously menus also classify foods into this in similar ways to this, where they might have like a breakfast menu, a lunch menu, and a dinner menu.
Sorry to like interrupt you. I was looking up the definition of dessert, and I put desert, and I'm like, man, I'm not seeing anything that resembles a desert here, and I could not figure out why for far too long. What do I do here?
Zinker, desert is 1 S for sand. Dessert is 2 S's for strawberry shortcake.
I was thinking sweet sand, which is a form of dessert.
It could be. I don't know. But so the thing with desserts is
dessert definition.
You can have desserts for multiple. Let me say my thing first, just so you can try to prove me wrong. Desserts are. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all independent of desserts, because desserts, you can have a dessert with all of those types of food, with a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a different course, ultimately, but it's generally like the last course that you have, and it also usually involves something that is mostly a sugar, or in other special cases, there are other things that can be classified as desserts that aren't sugars, like sugar-free things or whatnot. I don't know how exactly you break that down, but like desserts are separate, and if something's mostly like sugar or would mostly fall into a dessert, it should fall to like specific categories of dessert before it falls to other things. So like a Pop-Tart's not a sandwich, or when it's inefficient to call a Pop-Tart a sandwich. It's more efficient to call it a dessert, and then or like to call it like a specific type of dessert. It depends on who you ask. It depends on it. Pop-Tarts are a tough one, because like that's the tough part with breakfast, is because that's why Zinker. That's why I don't think that you should classify dessert actually with breakfast, is because desserts are weird, I guess. I don't know.
A dessert is a usually sweet course, a usually sweet course or dish, as a pastry or ice cream. It won't let me. Usually served at the end of a meal. Here's the deal, Derek. These definitions are kept loose, and you know what? They do it for the benefit of a restaurant. So then you can determine what your desserts are, and what your lunches, your main courses are, etc. They leave it up to the restaurant. So there's a reason why these are loose. It's to give you the freedom to choose how it needs to be done.
Well, also, I don't think there's no ultimate power to determine what constitutes what food.
Well, there is.
With any sort of fun say.
The FDA.
The FDA has food classifications, but like Zinker, obviously, if things are loose like this and could be fit to any menu, then like there's not clear definitions. Or could fit in different areas of a menu. There's not clear definitions.
Oof. Oopsies.
I didn't see what he said.
He said, I'm totally safe up here from my fear of large books. And then we pushed him down. Nice. Alright, well, next time on Speletons. Bye-bye. I gotta name all these.
Next time on Speletons. Is a meat pie a breakfast?